So it was February 17th of 2016 when I first started really uploading any videos to this channel. And the reason I was doing that was to kind of put myself out on display, to hold myself accountable for something that I was trying to do, which was lose weight and make myself feel better. I weighed in almost 250 pounds at that point last year, and it was affecting my mental health. I'm sure it wasn't helping my body itself. I've been feeling like I had the flu for a while, and it just wouldn't go away. So I wanted to be public about what I was dealing with, just so I could hold myself accountable to what I was trying to accomplish. So about 6 days later, I still wasn't feeling well. I mean, obviously it had only been a few days. I hadn't really lost any weight to speak of, but my symptoms were actually getting worse as far as like the flu-like feelings I was having, that sort of thing. So Rachel finally convinced me that I needed to go see a doctor. So we went to the local urgent care and they did some imaging. Results came back bad, sent me to the hospital, and we were there for a few hours, and finally I got frustrated because I had the flu. It wasn't a big deal. Turns out I didn't have the flu, and I was being impatient. So Rachel finally got the doctor to agree to let me go home, and if things got worse, I would come back. So we finally got home about 6 o'clock that evening. Went about our daily lives at that point. About midnight that night, I woke up in more pain than I'd ever really experienced. And it scared me like really, really bad. Like I had this burning feeling across my chest, out to both fingers, like all the way across out to my fingers, down my arms, whole bit. Scared me senseless. And we've got the kid, and taking him to the emergency room at midnight, that doesn't involve him directly, isn't really something that anybody wants to do. So we called the ambulance. They came and got me, took me back. And that was literally like five or 6 days after I made that very first video. And from there, I didn't come home until July 12th. So obviously there was something wrong. And again, for those of you who don't know, I spent a good portion of that time in comas. I was in 4 medically induced comas last year, and the first one, my doctor and Rachel and I talked about and agreed to. It was supposed to be 3 days, 3 or 4 days anyway. It ended up being closer to 3.5 weeks. When I came out of that coma, I was very confused. I thought it was a different year. I thought we had a different president. It was just, I was pretty confounded about a lot of things, and a lot of that's from a condition called ICU delirium that I experienced progressively worse. Basically, it was progressively worse every time I had a coma. Every time they put me in a coma, rather. I didn't have them. I was forced into them. Medically induced. Forced is the wrong word. We talked about them before they happened, and that was probably a good thing. So, over the course of the last year, or a little over a year that I've been home, it's, I got home in July. It's now October, but it's, the following year. So I've been home for a while, and, in that time that I've been home, I've had to spend, lots of time at the hospital, lots of time in clinics, for dialysis and chemo treatments, and, getting things put in and taken out of my body. Luckily I just had my last procedure here a few weeks ago, where they removed the IVC filter in my chest that would help me keep from throwing a clot into my heart and dying. So hopefully that'll be the last medical procedure I'll have to have for a while. As far as surgery is concerned, I do have another chemo treatment coming up next month, but that's kind of how it goes when you've got GPA or granulomatosis with polyangiitis. So what's my point here? I guess my point is that a while back I'd asked some people on social media, what kind of stuff they would want to know about my condition and what I went through, and the overwhelming response to that was, what is it like to be in a coma? And what was interesting about that is, a lot of times when I go into hospitals and doctors' offices and things, and I talk to the different staff that are there, and kind of tell them what I went through, they often ask me the same question of, what's it like being in a coma? Do you remember anything? Did you have like dreams or that sort of thing? So what I want to do with this video is kind of an homage to that video February 17th of last year, where I hold myself accountable. And what I want to do, at least for a while, is kind of have a series going where I talk about things like being in a coma, you know, and what it was like from the perspective of actually being in the coma, because there's quite a bit that I do remember. And you know, after talking to other people, especially Rachel, about those different time frames and what I remember and what really happened, how my reality and the real reality kind of intersected, and what was going on, and how that affected what was going on in my brain and what I thought was going on, which I know may seem kind of convoluted, but I plan to explain that in these upcoming videos. So so that's my goal, is to use this video to hold myself accountable, to say create like one video a week moving forward, talking about being in a coma, talking about being in, or having rather, ICU delirium, which is another video that I'll explain. I may have to dedicate an entire video to explaining what that really is and what it's like. So yeah, again, this video is to hold me accountable, to start creating videos to talk about comas, what it's like to be in a coma, what it's like to have those dreams while you're in a coma, the outside influences and how they affect the person in the coma, the ICU delirium, all of that sort of stuff. So my goal here is to, so like I said, put out one video a week. I think that's good for two reasons. One, it's a manageable number for me, and two, hopefully you guys won't get tired of my video uploads. So that's the goal, is to do that. I may do something like a Wednesday or a Thursday. I'd love to get your guys' opinion on what day that should be. If you want to leave that down in the comments below, that would be amazing, to kind of help me plan, you know, basically what part of the week do you want to see that? Do you want to start the week with it, you know, end the week with it, kind of get over the midday slumps with it? Let me know in the comment section down below. That would be amazing. But I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. If you like the idea of what I'm going to do here as far as creating this video series, talking about comas and all of the stuff around it, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. That would be awesome. Also, if you want to be notified when those videos come out, hit the subscribe button. You'll get a notification in your email when that happens. And I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. Thanks for watching. I look forward to making these videos, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.